As It Were Productions presents...
Hi, everybody, and welcome back to A Couple of Old Fashions with Becca and Joe. I'm Joe Lynch.
I'm Becca Howard.
And this is the movie show for movie lovers by movie lovers, where each week we pick a theme. We come up with movies to surprise each other based on that theme. We go over there where Rocco is right now. We watch those movies on the couch. Then we come back, we discuss it, and then we try to see if, in fact, we've made the perfect date night double feature. So, oh, by the way, happy Halloween or post-Halloween.
Happy Halloween.
It is actually Halloween, and we are about to celebrate, but we needed to shoot the show first.
Shoot the shit.
We had to shoot the shit and the show. So we're very excited to talk to you about, well, the movies that we have. They might not be Halloween based, but it's kind of spooky season all year round for us, right? I'd say. First things first, we have a sponsor. We're our first sponsor for the show.
Yay!
Yep, we are official now. The good friends over at DIABOLIK DVD have sponsored this month, and we're going to talk about them a little bit later. But for now, let's talk about this week's theme, which was...
It's your pick.
Oh, okay. Let me take it back. Fan service. There you go. I'm really excited to hear your pick.
I mean, I just went with the first image that popped in my head.
Which is usually the best way to do the show.
Ish? I mean, yeah, kind of a testament, I guess, to the power of subliminal messaging in movies. But I went with Barton Fink, which is not necessarily what you'd think of when you think of servicing the fan. But there is a fan in it.
There's many fans.
There's a lot of fan play. The more I thought about it, the more I thought it wasn't just like a first flash of the mind. I actually had something like with that
the life of the
choice. Mind. So yes, Barton Fink is my choice. We'll see how it works.
Oh my God. Any chance to talk about the Coen brothers?
I love
especially
them.
Barton Fink, which was a huge favorite of mine for a very long time.
I've only seen it once, and it just really indelibly kind of buried its way into my brain. I've always wanted to rewatch it, especially since becoming a writer. I've been curious to see how it was going to hit with me this time around.
The horrors of writer's block.
I want to stand by my first decision. So,
oh man, I might have gone a little more on the base level, a little more surface level with
the recurring
fan service
theme
right?
with you.
You said, and it's true, sometimes you got to just come up with the first thing that comes to mind. I might have wanted to watch this movie with you over the years, and when the topic came up, I was like, now this is going to give me excuse to watch Tony Scott's The Fan. No, not the early days Fan. This is a curious film in the career of Tony Scott, and I want to talk a lot about Tony Scott on this one. So
I haven't seen.
Oh, this is going to be really exciting. God, what a good double feature already. I'm just excited about the possibilities here. First things first. What's the order?
I mean, I don't know. I haven't seen The Fan. I would say Barton Fink is a good B movie typically, but I don't know.
I think you're right.
Oh, okay.
I do, because the Tony Scott Fan will kind of get us revved up, and then having seen both movies and knowing how Barton Fink ends, I feel like it's a good way to kind of end the double feature.
Yeah, it very much feels like a B-side to the Coen brothers. Well, it was literally, and we'll discuss this, but the B-side to Miller's Crossing. So, I mean, yeah, okay, cool. And we have our drinks.
Yes, we have our drinks. It is Friday. It is Halloween.
Yeah, the weirdest Halloween double feature.
But you know what? Both, in a weird sort of way, are horror movies, and we'll get into that. But first, to the couch.
And now it's A Couple of Old Fashions with Becca and Joe. This week's episode, Fan Service.
And we're back. And hey, happy Halloween. I'm the one who got dressed up this time.
No, you're not. He's dressed up for like a party for later. He's not that. You didn't pick Big Trouble in Little China.
I would have picked Big Trouble in Little China. I'm a big fan of Big Trouble in Little China.
It's a costume of a shirt that you clearly already have because there's multiple stains like all over it. I dressed up in an actual like Judy Davis, Audrey, Barton Fink kind of shirt.
I totally got that too. Yeah.
She wears a top like this.
All right, fine. Okay, so let's talk about the fan, my pick.
So, Bobby, I'm watching you, and if that pitcher goes easy on you, I'm going to hurt your kid.
Every time they think of you, they're going to think of me.
Oh, God, please, don't do this! Hey, Bobby!
I'm telling you, he's in the stadium.
Now do you care?
I want to get into Tony Scott a little bit because as a huge fan of Tony Scott, he's had an amazing career. And this was kind of one of those movies that came in the middle rung of his career. Like in the 80s, he had Top Gun, The Hunger, Revenge. He was kind of doing the Bruckheimer-Simpson kind of MTV commercial kind of stuff. I feel like after he did True Romance, he was veering into a much darker, a more artistic kind of realm. And then his third tier, which started with kind of Man on Fire, where he kind of had a...
Wait, Man on Fire was like 2002 or something.
But yeah, that's where he had kind of stylistic midlife crisis.
What year was The Fan?
The Fan was 96.
Okay.
But that's the thing. In the 90s, between Crimson Tide, this movie, all the way into Enemy of the State, he was trying out new things. He was kind of experimenting.
Yeah, I loved it. I hadn't ever seen it before. I actually hadn't really heard of it. It was very strange to me because it was sort of like, especially with it starring Robert De Niro, it's like he played a merge of his character in Silver Linings Playbook and the King of Comedy.
And Taxi Driver in a way.
The King of Comedy.
What's interesting about
My
this
reference
movie,
was better.
Sure, your references are always better. You could take two characters that these actors have done before, and I love how he brought these two actors together, which at first Tony Scott wasn't supposed to direct this movie. He declined it multiple times until Robert De Niro got involved, and then he's like, well, now I see a movie here. And it is interesting to see how both those actors clash with each other. And for those who don't know what the movie's about, it's about a baseball player who plays for the Giants and his obsessive fan, played by Robert De Niro, and how Gil's character gets a little too obsessed with Wesley Snipes' character.
Bobby,
yes.
Yes. I really, really enjoyed it. It was definitely Tony Scott being his Scottiest.
You know
I
from
felt,
the first frame that it's a Tony Scott.
I like how you dissected his career. I certainly see a difference between Hunger Tony Scott and Man on Fire Tony Scott, and this feels definitely more Man on Fire. I love actually the opening sequence so much. So basically there's a baseball radio station where fans get to call in, and the station will try and like hook the fans up with the players that they're specifically obsessed with and kind of bridge that connection between them.
With Ellen Barkin as the DJ.
Yeah, very 90s Ellen Barkin. So Robert De Niro plays Gil, who's kind of an everyman, it seems at first, and then he is very...
salesman.
Yeah, but like a very like just casual, like he doesn't seem like Travis Bickle or anything like that. He's just a regular schmo. He could be like a younger version of his character in Silver Linings Playbook, like just obsessive about baseball.
That's actually a really good point, because in the other movies, automatically, you kind of know that like Rupert Pupkin is a little on edge. Travis Bickle, very on edge.
Yes.
The character from Silver Linings Playbook is, you're right, like, you know, just kind of an
just
everyman.
a little obsessed, a little crazy about baseball, but like, you know, we all have our things. And it'd be like us calling in on a movie station or something like that and wanting to talk to Scorsese. It would be like, we would also probably be as kind of, you're the man, Scorsese.
It would be like,
I love you.
Charlie, like, you know that movie you made? That was awesome.
Love you, Marty. Yeah. So it's kind of that, like he's just like a fan. He's just a really into the sport. And what I love about using the station and the phone line to kind of introduce all these characters is that you have the three of them in these like disparate, isolated frames. So they all are on their own, but they're connected through this phone line that's like joining them all together in this like invisible kind of cord that, as the film progresses, gets tighter and tauter between Gil, Robert De Niro's character, and Bobby, Wesley Snipes' character, with them all driving, like both Bobby and Gil, they're both driving to work in the morning. That's right. So you have all this really fast sense of energy between the two of them.
Classic Tony Scott.
With them talking to each other.
And Ellen Barkin's camera is always moving.
Exactly. So
too.
you get this immediate sense of like, whoa, energy, and like the sense of like collision, that these two characters are on a collision course with one another. And I love that opening sequence.
If there's one thing that De Niro knows how to do is obsessive characters. And this one almost feels like it's kind of like when Tony Scott used Gene Hackman in Enemy of the State. You don't quite know if he's playing the same character from The Conversation, but he never says the name, but it could be him. By having De Niro in this, it's almost like at this point in De Niro's career, he wasn't really doing the funny stuff yet. The Meet the Fockers hadn't come out yet and Analyze This. So he was still considered like the edgy, serious actor, you know? The moment that he shows up and he's like, hey, Bobby, you know, or when he's at the game, when he's with his kid and he's like shoving his kid out of the way and everything, immediately you know things are a little off with
Well, there's a lot of strange kind of father-son things throughout the film. Like you have that early in the movie, another caller. So Gil loves to call into and listens to this radio station constantly, as any fan would. I mean, this is pre-podcast days, obviously, but it's basically the deep dive into baseball, and we hear other people call and being like, well, obviously the pitcher is the father and the catcher is the son, and the baseball itself is the ejaculate. So you hear like these sort of themes coming in, like Gil has this broken home life, so he's not... Can I ask something?
What?
I'm struggling to have a combo with you because the sunglasses are like, it feels like I can't, they're a cool part of the outfit, but I like can't connect. If you recall from our previous season 1 episode, Faces Places, Agnès Varda had the same complaint about Gérard. She can't like connect with him.
I'm not like sleeping, I swear.
Also, I see myself in the reflection and it's really bothering me.
If you are my Agnes and I will be your Gérard, I will take the glasses.
Thank you. That's better than Gérard ever does.
Oh, man. All right.
You okay? We can talk now. Have a conversation. That'll be nicer. Sorry. I know that was part of, you were excited about your outfit. I just felt very...
It wasn't an outfit because I just threw this on, supposedly. It wasn't a costume.
The home life that is broken that I was talking about is his ex-wife really doesn't want him in the picture anymore. Yeah. She's very aggressively like trying to push. She's remarried but shares custody of their son. And when she removes the son, it's like the son was his last sort of anchor to reality.
Exactly. Yeah.
So when
that's
his son's taken away from him, that's like when he starts to get even more and more twisted into his own psychosis with Bobby.
But you even have the scene when they go to the game, and of course they set up like, okay, Gil is a knife salesman. He's a freelance knife salesman, so he's the dude who goes door to door. Is like, hey, do you want to check out my new knives? And you know, he sets up this one big meeting, and of course that big meeting happens to be during opening day. So he stupidly goes, I can do both.
He's so irresponsible.
He's a terrible father. But,
and a terrible salesman.
Well, I guess, yeah, he's pretty terrible across the board.
Burnt out.
He's definitely, the only thing that he has is baseball. The only thing he has is his obsession with Bobby, with the Giants. He knows all the stats. He's been to all the games. But when they have that scene where, you know, he's together with his kid and you think this is a perfect bonding moment, and he's checking his watch and he should be leaving, and he's going to leave his kid to go, and he does. He leaves his kid, goes to the meeting, finds out the guy fucking left anyway, goes back, which, to be fair, you know, in San Francisco, that's absolutely impossible. But at the same time, he's pushing his kid away. There's like the old lady who's kind of the audience in a way, watching, going, this is not right. And then when that gets taken away from him, I think what they do so wonderfully with this is at least in the first half, because the second half gets a little unhinged. It goes a little more like crazy Tony Scott. Let's throw rain on everything, the classic style over substance. But the first half, I think, sets up the obsession side of things really well, between Bobby, even Wesley Snipes' character, how he's so obsessed with his number.
What's interesting is that Gil is way down on his luck at the start, but he's got this kind of idea that it's up to each of us to make our own lot in life. Like he says, positive things happen to positive thinkers. Bobby is up on his luck. He's just been purchased by the Giants.
Yeah. Yeah,
I know sports.
One of the rare movies that actually uses like real team names too.
So he's up on his luck, but he's way more kind of doesn't trust it, doesn't think he's way more superstitious to the point where and he sees a kid, a Make-A-Wish kid, he had the same name as his son, keeping up with the son thing, and he's obsessed with the number 11, and which is an interesting number because 11 one-on-one, that's again reinforces the idea of duality and that these two are on a collision course. But Benicio del Toro, in one of his very first
this is the movie
breakout
he did
roles
after Usual Suspects.
He's so good in this as well. And like Juan Primo, who already has the number 11. Gil's watching at the game with his son, and Bobby like smashes into Primo. They even say on the voiceover, like commentator guy is like, well, I hope the Giants have good collision coverage. And I was like, collision is a thing. Wrote it down. I was like, I'll say that on the podcast. We don't get much time to think of things, that's smart things to say.
Gil needs baseball. It's the one thing that he's got a constant in his life, and he knows, he's been obsessed with it. They show that montage in the beginning with his father. It was something that was shared, that he kind of wishes that he could pass along to his kid, where his kid is somewhat, into baseball, but not as obsessed as he is.
Duality again, the theme of the two, the son taking over the father, the sense of him being constructed in his own image.
Clearly, these two men, in one form or another, need each other. Gil needs baseball, and baseball is personified by Bobby.
Yes.
Bobby needs Gil, because if he doesn't have those screaming fans, who is he? He has no identity. And by the end of the movie, people cross the line.
I feel like at this point, people somewhat expect this to be a spoiler adjacent podcast. It's not like we're giving, this movie came out 20 years ago.
This is my favorite part. Yeah. Spoiler alert. Yay, spoiler alert. Where did that come from?
So Primo dies.
in a scene that is fucking brutal.
Gil murders him with one of his own knives after he's been let go from his job, and he's really starting to
And he's doing that because he's trying to get Bobby his number, right?
Yeah. So Primo won't give up his number. Bobby hits a dry streak. He's unable to hit
because he loses
his 11. And so he's down on his luck, and the audience at the fan turns against him, and Gil is the last fan who feels like he's on Bobby's side.
He's got to do something.
He has to, because he thinks that they're both down on their luck at this point. They're both being let go from their job, so to speak. And in Gil's mind, they're mutually linked.
Connected.
So maybe if he makes things better for Bobby, things will get better for Gil.
Yeah.
I did enjoy how at the beginning of the movie, Robert De Niro is demonstrating the knife by like shaving the hair off his legs, and then he ends up killing Benicio del Toro by stabbing him in the leg with it, which I was like,
the thigh?
Yeah, went full. That's a demonstration.
And it was so interesting how Darius Wolski was the DP, and who he's used before, and how they use color in this movie, especially in that shower scene when everything turns red.
There is an interesting editing technique in this sequence where because murdering Pinto really is like that's the crossroads moment where he goes over the edge into insanity.
For the audience.
We would assume that he's never killed someone before. So this is definitely crossing a line.
He's only shaved a lot.
Yeah, exactly. The way they edit it, I think, is kind of interesting because they show him leaving before you see what he's done.
And that was something that Tony Scott hadn't been doing a lot before.
So, which I loved, because it automatically makes you think, like, is this really happening? Like, because you see him safely leave the steam room without having killed him, just confronted him, and then they cut back and he has killed him. So it's this idea, I think for me, it kind of suggests either a break in reality or a break in his own mind of what's really happening on screen. Like, is any of this real from this point on? Is for me, because of that interesting editing choice, I think we have to question it, like whether the whole rest of the movie is really happening. Because I don't think it matters whether or not it really happens or not, because after this point, it's
the
all...
fact that he initiated it in his head, that he was willing to go that far.
Exactly, and the whole rest of the film is more about learning the whys rather than like, you know, what really, like the actual ridiculousness of what
like,
actually
it would have been
happens.
interesting if Primo just like walked in the background in a shot later on. It's like, hey guys, what's going on?
Exactly.
You know?
But for the sake of argument, let's say the rest of the film, the plot is really what's happening on screen. The losing streak is over, but I think it's because when the audience all sort of turn on him the first time around and then get re-galvanized back into Bobby and his career after the death of his competitor, he starts to realize the fickle nature of the fan, that they can sort of turn on a dime and that they don't actually have any personal stake in your life. And when Bobby and Gil finally meet towards the end of the film...
You're right. Like, watching it again, I forgot that they never cross paths until the
not
very
literally
end.
Just over the phone.
Yeah,
but they don't really meet until Gil saves Bobby in a random, which is another reason why I think it may all be happening in his head, but whatever. Bobby's son is like randomly dying in the water.
Oh yeah.
And father son Gil comes in and saves Bobby's son. Because of that, they meet, and Bobby tells Gil that he just stopped caring.
Yeah.
He stopped caring what the fan thought of him, and that freed him from just playing his best game for himself rather than for the audience.
This was the moment in the 90s when filmmakers discovered Nine Inch Nails and decided, like, ooh, if I need to show a character losing their shit, throw in a little fucking Trent Reznor. Like, Hans Zimmer was the composer of this movie, but I would say that Trent Reznor and Nine Inch Nails had a healthy dose of the soundtrack as well. They're using like clips, they're using sound bites, and then by the time you get to the shower scene, he's using full parts of the song and anytime that you start hearing that industrial music, you immediately go, okay, that's the sonic motif. Oliver Stone used that in Natural Born Killers. That was the first time that I had ever heard Nine Inch Nails or industrial music used as like a mental check-in, and the fan uses it almost like too much by the end.
What ends up happening is Gil kidnaps Bobby's son.
Oh shit. Yeah.
It's like he almost subsumes Bobby's life at this point. He can't have his son, so Bobby can't have his son. They're the kind of full circle moment where they're once again connected via a phone line. Once again, the tethering cord between the two of them has become taut, but this time rather than a baseball radio station that's like connecting the two, it's, you know, the FBI, because obviously Bobby freaked out, as you would if your kid had been stolen. Two separate people that are very much, you know, tethered
like
to one another. Yeah, exactly.
So that was the full circle.
That's
moment.
What I meant. Yeah. Ungrateful people have to be taught a lesson, is what Gil says, because Bobby has admitted he doesn't care anymore what he's ungrateful.
And I love that setup.
Yeah.
I think the setup is great. It's just how they got Robert De Niro on that field.
Yeah, so Robert De
bothers
Niro,
the shit
I
out of me.
know.
I forgot all about that. I'm like, dude, if this was The Naked Gun,
I don't
different
mind
story.
it. Robert De Niro, turned out he's the umpire. It doesn't make much sense, but at this point for me, the rest of this is none of what's been on screen has been literal since he killed Primo, and it gives us as an audience a final moment of confrontation between Bobby and Gil, which symbolically, thematically makes everything tied up in a nice little bow, more than, which I care about more than the plot.
There was probably a world or maybe a draft where Robert De Niro was never on that field.
Yeah, it makes no sense,
you know, and
but I love
that,
it.
like, would have sucked. It wouldn't have been as satisfying. Tony Scott, being that craftsman, he milks that moment all the way where you don't even know, like, just based on the gestures that the umpire is making and the voice a little bit, but then slowly but surely you go, wait a second, oh shit,
Yeah.
it is Gil.
Bobby says to Gil, why are you doing this? And Gil has this amazing moment where he, like true great Robert De Niro fashion, he doesn't say anything. He just kind of looks lost almost for a moment. Like he's finally back to his real self and what's going on. And it's like he doesn't even know what the answer is. He doesn't know quite why he's doing this.
Like he's gotten so far down the rabbit hole in his fandom.
Yeah, like he just isn't sure anymore what's motivating him to have, like he just was this intense need. And when he gets shot, so he tries to shoot Bobby, and then obviously all the FBI, who are also all on the field at this point, they all shoot. Gil is lying there dying, and as Wesley Snipes turns to him, his last words were, a simple thank you would have been nice. And I think that wraps up the movie in such a great way.
You saying it, I'm like, that was a good
because all he needed was to feel like anyone was grateful that he existed. His job fires him. His dad's dead. His wife is like, fuck off. His kid is like, fuck off. Yeah. Everyone is like, fuck off to him. The only person that he felt like, he did something great for was Bobby. And he's not grateful for what he did for him because he says, I don't care. When he says that, he signs his own and his kid's own death warrant because he desperately just needed, we all do, every single one of us cares. It's human nature to care about being cared for and or cared by. We just need to care for someone and by someone, and we need them to care back. And that's the fucked upness about the fan culture, the dichotomy between the artist, in this case the
baseball player,
football,
baseball,
one of those.
You're going to want to cut that one out. You're going to get some angry sports fans.
I'm sorry. This isn't my milieu.
Just say sports ball. It covers
sports
everything.
Ball.
But that line is so,
saying
it again, it just reminded me like.
He just needed recognition. Yes. He needed validation. And that can get so dark so quickly within fan service and that culture because there isn't a personal relationship there. But it's one-sided. But the fan can feel like it's meant to go both ways. Yeah. Like they have done so much. They put so much of their time, effort, lives into relating to this person, supporting this person. And they want, and I think quite rightly, they want to be thanked. This takes the dark side of that to the extreme of what happens when that one-sided mirror gets broken.
Yes, there you go. Tony Scott's the fan. I would say a good first pick.
I love
sure. Got the blood pumping a little bit.
I was very happy to finally cross it off my Scotty list.
And there's a lot more that you haven't seen, so hopefully we'll make enough.
I know I wasted too much of my life watching Ridley stuff. It's Tony I should have been.
Tony is the better Scott.
Clearly, so we need more Tony in my life. Thank you very much for this introduction. I loved it.
And now we're gonna get to Barton Fink right after this.
What are you doing?
I'm trying to look for a movie that's like this hard to find movie I just can't find anywhere.
Well, have you tried DIABOLIK DVD?
DIABOLIK DVD? No, I haven't. Tell me more.
Yeah, I mean, didn't you know that for the last 20 years, it's been the source for all horror, cult, and weird cinema for customers around the world?
Actually, I did. I believe that DIABOLIK offers a one-stop shopping experience for all of your favorite titles. Well, actually from some of the best companies like Cauldron Films or Arrow or Synapse or Mondo Macabro and many more from around the globe.
Yeah, I mean, that's where I typically look for Blu-rays for birthdays, for Christmases, for all the best deals and all the best little curated collections out there. It's actually where I go to find a lot of the Blu-rays that I bring to our double date features for this very show.
So we can actually pick two titles from this week's theme.
Yeah. Well, it actually makes it a little bit more difficult because they have such a wide variety that your mind kind of boggles at all the different choices. I actually almost didn't go with Barton Fink for this episode because I went on DIABOLIK DVD to find a good Blu-ray of it and ended up getting lost lost in a rabbit hole of other good choices. I very nearly decided to change my choice to Clue because I thought that would be a really interesting one with
Clue.
I love Clue, and it's like in terms of the meta quality of fan service, adapting an IP for the fan, trying to appease such a wide 4-quadrant audience base. I thought that could be a really interesting angle into fan service.
Yeah, good choice.
I mean, I went with Barton Fink in the end, but I liked that going on Diabolic DVD. I was like, there's so many. I can't lose my mind.
One of the choices that I almost went with that I know is on Diabolic
So you
DVD
have the same issue?
all the time. One of the things that we always like to do is make sure that these films that we pick are available not just on streaming, but also on physical media. And one of the ones that I really was excited about is a movie that I haven't seen in a while, but there's a brand new edition that came out on Scream Factory, Fade to Black. Vernon Zimmerman's Fade to Black. There's a new 4K Blu-ray version. It is the ultimate like fan movie gone wrong.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, that's the great thing about Diabolic DVD, is that it's not just the films. You have these amazingly beautifully curated collectible edition items. Like with Clue, you could get it as either a steelbook edition or you could get it as part of a Shout Select limited edition box
no way.
set, both in 4K and UHD. So it's just like the best possible way to watch your favorite films over and over again.
So there you go. 2 more titles under the fan service theme, hopefully that you like. We got Clue and we got Fade to Black, which you can get at diabolicdvd.com. Because, you know, whenever you want to find that definitive version of Deep Red, or you want to upgrade that crusty old copy of Death Wish 3 to beautiful, glorious, sleazy 4K, Diabolic DVD, which is a owner-operated small business choice, that's the place to go, diabolicdvd.com.
Yes, and if you need help spelling it, like Joe needed before, that's diabolicdvd.com, DIABOLIK DVD.com, or you can visit its sister website at cauldronfilms.com. That's Cauldron Films with a hyphen in the middle. And yeah, just your embarrassment of riches rabbit hole awaits you.
So keep physical media alive, shop Diabolic, and now back to the show.
And now, on with the show.
And we're back. And man, you are a sick fuck, Fink. Did I catch you off guard?
No, I just, I'm an alcoholic. As are many of the people set in this 1930s, 40s film called Barton Fink. What did you think?
What did you think about the Fink? I genuinely adore this movie.
For the first time in the history of the Cannes Film Festival, one film has swept all the major awards. Barton Fink.
Charlie, why me?
Because you don't listen!
I'm a writer.
Look upon me!
It just kind of put me down a rabbit hole of who are these guys, what are these stories that they're telling, and why do they tell them the way that they tell them? Everything from the cinematography to the editing to the performances to I remember reading early on in an old book back before the internet where someone had a theory about Raising Arizona that if you watch Raising Arizona, everything in Raising Arizona goes left to right.
Oh dear.
No, but that made me go, that's interesting. So little things, little details in Barton Fink kept popping out.
As Martin Scorsese said, cinema is a matter of what's in the frame and what's out.
Watching back, there are multiple fans strewn throughout the movie. There's 2 in the lobby, there's 1 in the elevator, and there's a famous one in his room.
Yes, and what I think this movie, and I have arguments for this, is ultimately why I'm kind of proud of my subliminal noggin for randomly thinking, as soon as you said fan service, I just thought of that like lonely fan going, it actually makes a lot of sense. Do you mind if I set up the film? So the film is about this guy, Barton Fink, who is a writer. He has just had a smash success on Broadway. It was his first play. It's written in this very like Clifford Odets kind of Eugene O'Neill style.
That's who it was based on, right?
I don't know.
No, Barton Fink. When I was doing the notes, Barton Fink was his Odette's pseudonym.
Really?
Yes. That was his pseudonym.
I didn't know
I didn't know that either. Like, that blew my fucking mind.
The style of the play. I'm a big Odette's, who didn't study Odette's in school and whatever, and Paradise Lost and such. I actually didn't study it in school. I read it.
God, phew. I'm sitting there going like, oh, good. I'm an idiot.
No, I studied it on my own time.
Carry on.
It's written in that style, like a parody of that style. And it's a smash success. He goes to dinner and everyone's like reading reviews of how he's the best and his play is amazing. He's this great new voice on the American scene. Interestingly, shot on the Queen Mary.
Really?
Yes.
Interesting.
Fun. They ask him what he thinks about like how he's, received all this praise for his first smash hit. He's dismissive almost of it and like, nervous about accepting such praise. Like it doesn't sit well within him. Mm-hmm. And then he gets a call from Hollywood, comes a beckoning for his second effort, for his sophomoric effort. So he goes to Hollywood.
Like Odette's did.
Yes.
Like Henry Miller. Or
like a lot of people like
Arthur
money.
Miller.
Yes, the color of money. They followed it to where the streets are paved with gold, and then they arrive and it's actually paved in earwaxy goo stuff.
So much slime.
So he checks in to the Hotel Earl, and I want to establish that throughout this film, what happens is all, as soon as he goes into the hotel at least, all in his mind, and the hotel is an allegory for his mind and for writer's block.
But where would you say then, or it doesn't even matter, where would you say he is? Like, is he back in New York and this is just like where he's stuck in, he's in the life of the mind in a way?
No, I think he for sure has had a smash hit play. I think Hollywood's called him to do a second, have that Barton Fink feeling.
Oh, I love that. I used that for years.
Yeah, on a second effort. And that pressure that he's putting on himself, as represented by several things, is all real. The hotel itself, all the people in it, and everything that happens to him in the hotel is more symbolic than real, because it's all very abstract and obtuse. And I think it's a much more interesting film if you read it that way.
Yeah.
So to begin,
I want to point out though that like where the Coen brothers were from Raising Arizona into Miller's Crossing, Hollywood was calling them.
Oh yeah.
Just like Joel Silver did, eventually getting them to do Hudsucker Proxy, which is in a way kind of the like, it feels like a precursor to this movie or a postcursor to this movie.
This film is famously their writer's block movie because they spent months trying to write Miller's Crossing and kept getting blocked.
So they did this.
They wrote this as like a way to clean the pipes, I think is how they referred to it. So my analysis is probably pretty much on the money, I would say.
I would
but
say
let me start.
Go ahead.
So he enters the Hotel Earl, kind of like the Hotel Cecil. It reminds me of those like shitty old hotels in like downtown LA that has seen better days. They said they used the colors green and yellow because it specifically looked like puke
and pus
and
slime
and like
there's a lot of body fluids in this movie.
All the windows have a building on the other side to make it feel claustrophobic.
You never get an establishing shot of the hotel. You never really see outside of the hotel other than the studio, the park. That's it.
Steve Buscemi in a wonderful cameo as Chet, the desk guy.
The bell,
the
ring, and then the
the ring that won't stop ringing, like it's ringing in his ears. He comes over and is like, "Are you a trans or a res?"
Yeah.
And then he's like, "I don't know, I'm indefinite." And then he says, "Res." No writer knows when they get writer's block how long it's gonna last.
Yeah.
On all of the hotel stationery, it says a day or a lifetime.
Yeah.
Because we never know how much time we're gonna be stuck in this writer's block milieu. And on the wall, the only thing of actual color in the whole shitty room that he's staying in is a picture of a girl looking out onto like an ocean, and she has her back to him, staring out into something unseen and vague in the distance.
Looking out like that.
She is the fan. She is the audience that is expecting something from him after the success of his first written work to achieve the same or more in his second, and he's unable to connect to her because her back is to him. Like she's just this vague, faceless impression of the audience, and he's unable to actually connect to the audience because he's in his own head.
Spoiler alert. That picture becomes significant at the very end.
Oh, yes.
It becomes the last shot. I know. But what I'm saying is, and this is something that I've never picked up on until you said that, was every filmmaker, whether you're a director, you're a writer, there's a feeling that you want to get when you are in a theater and you're not just watching the movie in a theater, you're watching the fans in the theater. So that perspective that you're taking is the ultimate perspective that you want to take on your work. You want to be able to see the beautiful colors of the vistas in the background, and you also want to see a reaction from the audience. So that picture is his goal, ultimately.
Yes, I think so.
Fuck!
I know. He meets the studio boss. He's kind of like a Jack...
Michael Lerner.
Yeah, played by a Jack Lipnick. He's like a Jack Warner type mogul.
Nominated for an Academy Award.
Oh, he's so funny in
He
this.
should have won.
And he's looking for that Barton Fink feeling, puts all this pressure on him that he's already clearly suffering from himself.
Yeah. To make a wrestling picture, which is considered garbage, you know.
So I didn't realize that. I always thought it was a 30 thing. And part of what made me think that is because they reference Wallace Beery, who had come out in 1931 with a famous wrestling picture called The Champ. At the end, it becomes clear it's actually 1941 because he goes to an SSO dance, which is also funny, like that a writer is so self-absolved that like the entire movie, you don't really know what year it is. And then at the end, you're like, oh, World War II just broke out.
The only other time that the war comes up is when later on when Michael Lerner gets drafted.
Yeah.
You know, or he volunteers.
As a colonel, We re-enter the hotel. Film's not real anymore. And we meet John Goodman's portrayal of Charlie Meadows, a great character, also in Barton's head. Hear me out.
All right.
So he's staring down at his typewriter, and we get that great shot. Like he writes this one line that's like clearly derivative of his first film, and there's this great shot of the camera. First time they worked with Roger Deakins.
Yep. It was Stormy Monday that they saw.
I know he wasn't established at the time. That's why I say random.
This is one of those movies that like made him.
Yeah. So there's a great shot of the camera leaning into the typewriter, and it's like the
miniature.
Fear, that makes sense because it's
crazy.
A crazy shot.
Yeah.
And it's like the fear of the blank page. Who saves him at the last second and keeps recurringly throughout the film saving him the second he starts staring down the barrel of that typewriter.
Let me think. John Goodman.
Charlie Meadows, the literal human embodiment of procrastination, because every time he gets nervous about having to work, who shows up to save him but Charlie Meadows, the idealized everyman, the masses that he claims to not only be writing about but for. And every time that Charlie says, oh well, I got some stories for you, Barton cuts him off and waxes lyrical. Get it? Wax.
Coming out of his
waxes lyrical about all his own bullshit philosophies and stuff like that, because he doesn't actually know any stories about the common man, because he doesn't listen, he doesn't care about other people. And so Charlie, being a figment of his imagination, can't say his stories because Barton isn't actually listening to what other people have to tell him. So he's just there to offer a way out of like having to work as a means of like being able to procrastinate.
Or watch the wallpaper peel off. There's even the same kind of goop is coming out of Charlie's ears at certain points.
And this is the first time that Barton says that I mine the depth of the mind. My whole job is the life of the mind. And interestingly, Charlie, the procrastination symbol, says he sells insurance. Peace of mind.
Yeah. That's what I mean, though. The Coens always have something to chew on, even though in interviews and other kind of like analyses of their work, when anyone asks them about like, what was about the painting, or like the painting on the wall, what was the symbolism of this? They just go, I don't know, like do with it what you will. You know, it's like you can come up with so many different perceptions. Like for me, I always saw Charlie as the common man that Barton is writing to, because this is probably the dude that goes to those wrestling movies. And he's a big dude who looks like a wrestler, and they wrestle at one point.
Yes. Yeah. But I think all of that supports the idea that he's a figment of his imagination.
All of this is only making me want to fucking watch the movie again.
So he meets Bill, another writer who's like a hero of his. Through him meets his wife Audrey, played by Judy Davis, of whom I'm wearing a similar shirt, whether you say it is or not.
Judy Davis-Sassance back in the 90s when she was in everything.
So if we follow this allegory all the way through to when Audrey enters the hotel and is no longer real. So he basically has this crazy deadline. He hasn't been able to write all week because of the block. the blockage, the wax in his ears. And so he calls her desperately. She comes to the hotel. She's not real at this point because she's in the hotel and no one's real in this hotel. He even like goes out to the corridor at one point, and there's a great shot of the empty corridor that he never meets anyone else from the
All you
who's
see
staying.
is the shoes.
All you see are these empty shoes. It's so creepy that are lined up outside the doors, and it's like they're also symbolic of the unseen audience that are waiting for him to write his next big picture. She like is enabling Bill, the other writers, self-saboteur by supplying him with alcohol, and she also admits to ghostwriting a lot of Bill's work, and in doing so I think she becomes an allegory for Barton's worst fears, that he's not good enough, that he is a self-sabotaging and incapable of actually like he only had one story in him. He'll never be able to actually write anything else, and he's actually a fake. He's an imposter.
And which every writer goes through, especially, I think you can attest to this, like recently we've been we're in writing mode right now. So that is every writer's fear.
Yeah.
Is not being able to wake up and use your brain and come up with these creative moments. And when that stops, it's horrifying because you don't
That's
know.
your livelihood.
It's your livelihood. You don't know if it's ever going to come back.
Is it a day or a lifetime?
Exactly. You know, this is
It's a thing.
clearly the Coens are getting something out.
Yes.
With this, they're purging. This is therapeutic to them.
So if Audrey represents that niggling self-doubt, that fear of being an imposter, he then has sex with her, and then we already said a spoiler.
Yeah.
Kills her off, and in doing so not only reclaims his own worth as a writer, but also destroys that fear for all future work.
Barton killed Judy Davis.
Has her killed off. I mean, I think she's not real when she goes into the hotel. So when they have sex,
because it's never explained.
Yeah. So because it's all in his mind. You don't need to explain things that are in your mind.
Charlie ends up helping get rid of the body. But the moment that he puts the head on the desk is one of the moments where he slips his feet into the shoes and he starts writing again. So,
no, he starts writing again when Charlie Meadows leaves. The physical embodiment
when he like takes off.
Of procrastination leaves the hotel. He finally is able to stop procrastinating. Some detectives visit him and reveal that
those guys are right out of His Girl Friday, big time.
And
You're a sick fuck, Fink.
Yeah, exactly. But they're also not real. They reveal that he is that Charlie is a serial killer called Munt, and that
great name.
Which makes, to your point about the procrastination being a death knell for the writer, makes sense that he would be a serial killer. What's funny is that like he is not only a serial killer, he's a serial killer who cuts the heads off his victims, which is great because like he's only just been able to get out of his own head enough to write.
But I also got that.
Get it?
Like, yes, I did. But I also got, like, if we're going to go off of your theory,
please do.
Charlie is a serial killer and you have, it feels like because ultimately Barton is there to write a fan serviceable script to make a movie product for this Hollywood studio, right? So he is been hired to service the fans.
Yes.
And if Charlie is in fact a serial killer, that feels like something that wouldn't be in a Barton Fink script.
To procrastinate is to kill yourself off if you're a self-employed writer, and motivation and self-discipline are the two most important factors in actually being able to make deadlines and not get dead. So the fact that he's a serial killer makes sense to me. Procrastination is a serial killer of writers. So for me, that makes sense.
Of course. And you got fans in the movie
I'm just
too.
saying, I'm not just, this is all part of the same basic principle that I'm saying, is that the Hotel Earl is not real. It's just an allegory for writer's block and the demons that like can prevent a writer from writing. And to cap that off, the detectives, also not real, are in his room reading, like when he finally finishes his script, they're critiquing it cruelly.
That's so awful too.
I know.
That's the worst. That's the worst thing you can have happen.
That's because they represent the writer's self-critic, the writer's self-doubt. That's also another demon that a writer has to reckon with in order to actually produce work and create a career. Charlie turns up again, and
in one of the greatest sequences ever filmed.
So they created that set from scratch, and they were gonna do the fire. Thank God they didn't. They were gonna do the fire digitally, but then decided at the last minute not to. So they created a fire bunker thing of the version of the corridor in Long Beach, almost like how the first ever film to ever exist, Sally Gardner, the cameras were on a tripwire that got triggered by the horse's hooves.
He was running
as
down the
John
hallway.
Goodman's running down the hallway screaming like, "I'll show you the life of the mind." Sorry for all the podcast listeners who were just like, "Ugh." He has a shotgun, shoots the detectives, finally killing the last of the demons that are plaguing Barton Fink from being able to write. When he does that, he is finally able to free Barton from the shackles of the handcuffs that the police detective used for the bed, and the fact that he's able to check out at the hotel.
He doesn't even check out, he just walks out.
Yeah, well, because it's burning all around him. That represents the fact that he's finally been able to overcome those demons and is able to leave the Hotel Earl, the symbolic allegory for all the demons that can plague a writer and cause writer's block.
Okay. I love this. This is amazing. I can listen to you talk about the Coens until the cows come home. Ultimately, Barton had to write this script, and he does, and he walks into Michael Lerner's office with with the conviction that, and I want to get your take on this. Do you think that he truly believed it, or do you think he was under is he just happy that he got out of the spell of writer's block?
I think that's what it is.
Because what he's happy with was product. It was the thing that he was rallying against, servicing the fans, and now he's been beaten down so much that he's like, fuck it, this is it. I've done it. I'm giving you a crappy B movie.
Yes.
But I like it.
Well, it's from bits of the script that we hear as he's writing it. We find out that it's basically just derivative of his own previous work, as is often the case with sophomoric efforts.
His work
he stole from himself. Yeah. Lipnick says it's shit. It probably is shit, but that's not what matters. What matters is that he defeated the fear of the blank page, and he got over all the demons that were plaguing him from just being able to write. And what I love is that he gets told this is bad, and he's going to have to work on something, do the work again. And we, I think, get this quite hopeful final note, because he goes to the beach and he sees the same woman from the painting. She is now able to turn around. She doesn't have her back on him anymore. They connect. He can't hear her, but he asks her to repeat herself. She does, and he's finally able to hear what she's saying, and he replies. He's finally gotten the wax out of his ears, and he's starting to listen. So the fact that he's gotten over these demons that plague a writer, and he's actually connecting once more to the real world, to the fan, to the audience, as represented by this woman, means that he's not only gotten over self-doubt, self-sabotage, the pressure and procrastination that can plague a writer, he has also gotten over himself.
Out of his superego.
Out of his head, as represented by the hotel.
Okay.
So we have hope that the next thing he's going to write is actually going to be something of worth. I mean, you can't write if you're not actually out of your own head and connecting to the real world and people around you and using elements of your real life as inspiration for your words. If you're just relying on your own self and not listening to any of the people around you, then you are just going to write derivations of what you've written before, and you're never going to actually do anything good in your second outings.
I always thought that what happened in the hotel was the real world, and the painting, he had gone crazy, and the painting was the personification of his craziness. Now you've inverted it. Now I want to watch it again. Last little bit of trivia. That moment when the bird comes in and goes,
yeah,
that was an accident.
Oh, sure. They can't control coots.
No, of course. But it's funny that what a great final moment to play off of a motif that we've been seeing throughout the whole movie. And then you just get this with the goofiest sound effect. It's this beautiful shot, and then plunk.
Yeah. Anyway, that was my thesis of Barton Fink.
I loved it. I love the fact that we were able to take these two movies and bring them together.
They both ultimately spoke to the relationship that fans, in the first instance, that the fan has with the artist, and in the second, that the artist has with the fan. I think they inverted one another and complemented one another really well, even if not at first glance. I think talking it out makes it feel that way.
Yeah.
And so I actually feel like they worked very well as a double feature, especially when...
Wait. You're going too far. We have to do the last call.
Last call!
Okay, so you agree this was a good double feature?
Yeah, I mean, definitely when introduced within that framework of the fan service, for sure.
And do you feel like the order was correct?
Yeah, because it's nice. I mean, I would be interested, maybe next time, to watch it the other way around.
I think especially now that you've discussed that ending of Barton Fink is one of hope. I prefer whenever we do double features where we kind of go out on a high note instead of a low note, and the fan bittersweet, if you will, is a bittersweet ending. And Barton Fink made me kind of hopeful for Barton's future, for our future in a way, for that fucking Gull's future. Who knows? Yeah, I think it was a definite good double feature and a definite good lineup as well.
Yay!
So there you go.
Good for us.
And there you go. So there it is, fan service with the fan and with Barton Fink. Now, we got to talk about next week. In the past, we've kind of taken turns with the themes, and we always, and you know what, Becca brought up a really good point.
Well, it was my turn this week, and I just find that every time it's my turn, I enjoy the process less. With fan service, Barton Fink was the first thing that popped in my brain. I actually thought it really worked in the end. Good job, brain. Good job, head. No earwax dripping off the side walls of your noggin. When I have to pick it, I find myself second guessing constantly, being like, well, if I choose this theme, then maybe I can pick this movie.
It starts to skew
which is
choices,
cheating.
Which is not fair.
So I want to introduce the element of the random.
So let's set this up. We have a long list of themes. I have this trusty hat. There we go, from a Halloween costume of yore. You might have seen it last week on Instagram. There it is. And all of the themes are in there. Becca's going to pick one out, and that's going to be next week's theme. Don't look. All right. Come on, hurry up. All right. So, the theme for next week's is...
Horrible vacations.
Oh, wow. Okay. All right. Interesting. Very nice.
I like that.
That's a good one. Yeah. Now, okay. All right. I think we can work with that. We're going to have to work with that.
Yeah.
That's next week's theme. So there you go. Next week's theme is horrible vacations. Tune in to see what we pick and what order that will be in. Thank you so much for tuning in, for watching us. Don't forget, make sure that you follow us on the socials. Yes, we have all these right down here. Follow us on Instagram. Also, if you want a full list of all the movies that we've covered thus far, go to my Letterboxd at the Joe Lynch. I have the full list. I just updated it for last week's episode. Also, make sure that you like and subscribe on our YouTube channel, or if you're listening to us on audio, subscribe to one of those various platforms as well, like Apple Podcasts or on Spotify. Make sure you pick up the Last Drive-In Joe Bob Briggs DVD and Blu-ray. That is on sale at our latest sponsor, DIABOLIK DVD. Thank you so much to DIABOLIK DVD for sponsoring us for the whole month of November. And with that...
That's it?
That's it.
That's
a wrap. So happy Halloween or post-Halloween to you all. Let's go get some goddamn candy.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Reese's.
Oh, wait. Duh.
Oh.
You have to do it. Every
oh,
month.
man. I always forget. Why'd I come up with a catchphrase?
Yeah.
Oh, my God. Movies. They're the only marathon worth participating in, and they're what date nights are made for.
Good job.
Thank you.
Someday you'll get it right.
It's getting better.
Yeah. Well, not bad. See you next week. Bye.
And now, folks, it's time to say goodnight. We sincerely appreciate your patronage and hope we've succeeded in bringing you an enjoyable evening of entertainment. Please drive home carefully and come back again soon. Good night.